Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Trevor Castleberry here, CEO of Castleberry Consulting and author of the Futter Hustler book series. We got a doozy here tonight for new school negotiations. Yes, I'm out of the senator suit for tonight, and I threw in the polo button up. And today we're talking about 6 persuasion principles to prevent you from looking inexperienced and incompetent. Again, 6 persuasion principles to prevent you from looking inexperienced and incompetent. This is a this is a continuation from what I talked about on Friday, which was what was it? Persuasion principles that you could use when pitching partnerships or something like that that'll keep you from looking inexperienced and incompetent. And let's dig right in. Today we'll be going over the 6 persuasion principles labeled by Robert Cialdini, who is the author of the book Influence and Persuasion, and pretty much he's a college professor who got tired of people selling him things that he did not want and him falling for the juice that they served him. So he went out and decided to be a part or take part in a bunch of different sales trainings, a bunch of different industries, work under and shadow some of the top salesmen in those industries. And he wrote out, what he felt were the most common principles or tactics or strategies that were used by the top salesmen to persuade people to buy the products. And across all those different industries, which was car sales, home security sales, everything you could think of, he came down with 6, which are reciprocity, commitment and consistency, social proof, scarcity, authority, and liking. For those who are interested in some of the books, Influence was written first in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. Fun fact about Influence, when he wrote the book, he expected it to do so well, but it didn't. It didn't do well at all. Maybe he wrote it in the 90s, but it didn't do well at all, right? It severely undersold, and pretty much like 10 years later, out of nowhere, the book just boomed and became a bestseller. And pretty much he likes to attribute that to the change in ideology of management and corporate environments. Back when he first wrote the book, using statistics and data based on other companies in the past under old leadership was not looked at as a leadership task. Really, it was you were supposed to use your own influence, your own background, and your own knowledge, your own data to make a decision. As corporations became more analytically driven and decided to use more data to make decisions going forward, management obviously had to take on that new ideology and started to pursue looking for more management data and statistics that they could use to justify making different decisions. And his book Influence was the perfect one for that because it was full of hundreds, dozens, if not hundreds, of data and research and experiments to prove different social theories and what people want and what different tactics can be used to persuade people to make different actions. So let's jump into the 6 tonight. The first one is reciprocity. What is reciprocity? Many of us have heard the term before. The principle of reciprocity is well known, and pretty much that just means, and it's also, extremely relevant in pretty much every culture known across the world is, if you take, you give back, or if you give, you shall receive, right? If you're religious, you've probably heard it. If you're family oriented, I'm sure you were taught it. But the whole point is, obviously, be willing to give, and when you give, people will receive. And then obviously, when you get something, especially for free, that you weren't expecting, and it seemed to be, a thought out gift, you often are going to return the favor. And the better the gift, the better the return. That's why people have holidays like Christmas and stuff like that. You give your cousin something nice on their birthday, hoping that they'll give you something nice back on yours, or maybe even expecting. Reciprocity can be found in the business world specifically, because that's what we're talking about tonight, how to make sales or how to use it business-wise when it comes to giving something free. If you sell a product online, ideally, it would be your lead magnet. For those who don't know what a lead magnet is, that's a product that you exchange for. That's a product that you give your people that visit your website in exchange for their contact information. So you may go to a website, maybe you click the ad that said, download this free ebook or get this free course or watch this free interview or something like that. And in order for you to actually access it, they'll ask you for your username. They'll ask you for your name and email address. Or maybe they'll let you watch it, but in order to see the rest of the video or the rest of the course or something like that, you have to give in your name and email address. The rest of that stuff that they're giving you is a lead magnet. The thing that they gave you first is what they're using for reciprocity. So it's like, since I gave you this free video and you learned something valuable from it and it interests you, you should be willing to give me your contact information. One, so you can access the lead magnet that I promise you. And two, so you can expect to receive even more good quality content or high quality content. One piece of research that he talked about, and if I'm not mistaken, it was Persuasion, was where pretty much there were, actually no, this is from London Business School, but pretty much there was a company who wanted to put signs on people's lawns trying to stop people from speeding down that street. But pretty much every time they would go to ask people in their homes to put this sign on their lawn, people would rarely ever accept. So what they did was, nope, actually, sorry, wrong example. That's what commitment and consistency. The one I need to talk about is, it was banks. They needed people to fill out surveys so they can know what they need to, do better on in terms of customer service and services for their clients or customers. Only thing was, when they sent out the surveys, people would never do them. So what they decided was, we're going to send out the surveys and tell people, or you mention on the survey, when you fill it out and return it, you'll receive a gift card back, or you'll receive a check back that you can go, turn in for cash or whatever. But that helped, helping, offering to give them the check or the payment in exchange for the filled out survey, that helped to bump up participation, but not as much as they expected. So they were left with a decision, which was to try giving them something new, or offering something new, promising something new in exchange for the returned and filled out and completed survey, or to give them the product before they have them fill out the survey. Obviously, you would assume if you give them the product beforehand, most people are just not gonna fill out the survey and keep the free product, and now you lose out on everything. But what they did was, they gave people a check, told them they could cash the check, but they would love it if you fill out the form, fill out the survey, and return it. What it was the principle of reciprocity, where people felt compelled to fill out the survey before they actually cashed the check. So what they found out was, not only did more people fill out the survey because they got the check beforehand, and they felt like they had to reciprocate the completed survey, but most of the people who didn't complete the survey also did not turn in the money, likely because they didn't want to violate that common law of reciprocity, which was, they got something free and they get the money free, and not give the filled out survey back. So in exchange, they just said, since I'm not going to fill out the survey, I just won't cash the money, right? And that ended up spiking participation more than anything. And that's likely why, if you're with a large commercial bank, then maybe like once a year that they actually just send you a random $5 in the mail or something like that, right? So that's reciprocity. One way that you all can use it, if you sell a simple product online, from a book to an ebook to a course, or even clothing, is easily giving out something for free. And it should obviously be digital content, ideally, because it doesn't cost you money to provide it, right? Second principle is commitment and consistency. Pretty much what this means is, you're going to make a small ask beforehand in order to essentially warm the person up, and then ask for a bigger ask on the back end. And because that person already made an initial commitment, they'll want to stay consistent, because that's something that's just in our nature. We want consistency, right? We thrive on it. That's why we have schedules and things of that nature. Once they make the small commitment, they'll want to stay consistent and staying along until the commitment is followed through. So one way that this is used in business, primarily I see, is free trials, right? You get your free 7-day trial, free 10-day trial, free 30-day trial. That's a great way, because one, the person just has to make a small commitment of maybe an activation fee, or maybe even just putting in, their payment information. That way you can charge them days later. So it'll cost them very little to nothing up front. in exchange for the promise of consistent quality content over the next X amount of days before they charge you. And then they still expect for after you charge them to still receive that same quality content, right? Consistency. One name for it is foot in the door technique. So this is the story about the about the signs on people's lawns to get drivers to stop speeding. Pretty much, they couldn't get people in a neighborhood to agree to it, right? Because it was these large eyesores on their lawn. It's like, if I pay this much money for my house, I'm not going to let somebody just put this big ugly thing on my lawn for free, even if it's just to actually help my community, right? So what they did was they asked, after they saw that like barely anybody was participating or approving and saying yes, they went out and had small stickers, and they decided to pitch or to offer people the opportunity to place the small sticker in their window. Most people just thought of it as, okay, it's just a small sticker in the window. It's for a good cause. Sure, why not? It doesn't inconvenience me any, right? So boom, people approved or committed to putting the small drive safely sticker in their front window of their home. Now, let's say a week later or 30 days later, whatever it was, they returned back to that same community and asked people again to put the large sign on their lawn. Of the people who actually had the small sign on their window, the small sticker, over a large spike in that crowd actually approved and committed to, yes, you can put this large sign on my lawn, simply because, or it's attributed to the fact that they already made the first small gesture of allowing the sticker on the window. Some would say, oh, putting a sticker on the window already lets you know that they were likely committed to the cause, and that's why they took the sign on the lawn. But if the studies would show that those same people will likely not have taken the eyesore on the lawn because they didn't make the small commitment to the small sticker on their front home window. So again, a great way to use commitment and consistency is to offer a free trial to like a membership of some sort. If you don't have a product like that, you can use it in your marketing or your slogan. The best one I've ever heard to date is Lay's. I'll never forget, because it happened to me as a kid. They have that slogan, I bet you can't eat just one, right? And it's almost like a dare. Like, I dare to eat one, and then a bet right behind. Like, if you commit to just eating one of these chips, the rest of the bag will be so good you can't just eat one. You'll finish the bag, right? How do I know that thing probably is true or kind of is true? Because it happened to me when I was like 10 years old. My mom came back from getting groceries. While she's putting the groceries away, I asked, could I eat some of the chips? She said yes. I'm sitting at the kitchen table, handing out the Lay's bag, eating, watching her put all the groceries away. Next thing I know, all the chips are gone. And she was livid. She was not happy about it. And then next thing you know, ever since then, I always remember Lay's, bet you can't eat just one, because I committed to eating that first bag of chips, and they provided the consistency of flavorful chips for the entire bag, heavily salted, the way I used to love them when I was a kid, right? So reciprocity, give them something for free, and commitment and consistency. Either give them a free trial or, a sample of some sort, like how they do in those large box stores like BJ's and Costco, or the other option is to use a slogan, almost like to dare them, to try some and they'll like the rest. Another version of it is like a 30-day, what is it, like the 30-day guarantee, like try my product. If you don't see results in 30 days, get your money back. So it's like, you got to commit to using my product for 30 days consistently. And if the product isn't consistently, helping your life, you're allowed to now back out of your commitment. But most people that stick it for 30 days will keep it going because, again, they made that small commitment and they want to stay consistent. Hence the reason why most people who never stay in the gym longer than 90 days still keep their gym membership around 6 months, right? So next, we got the third principle of persuasion, which is social proof. Many of us have heard the term. There's even something called the Social Proof Podcast, which I think was such a clever name for David Shands and Donnie Wiggins, two great podcasters and coaches. But social proof is pretty much just the popularity of your product, just showing that the crowd promotes and supports your product. Why is this important? Because as humans, we work best in crowds, in communities, and with other people, right? Everything typically oriented in life that has to do with progression, you're not going to do it yourself. You're going to do it with at least one other person. And likely, if you have two options, you're going to go with the option that all the other people around you, or most of the other people around you, are choosing. Right? Even the fact that we have voting in this country is like, we're just going to go with what most people want to go with. Right? The overall decision will be the one that most people go with, as opposed to, what may be the best. So, two ways to use social proof in your business. One is to show, well, there's kind of three ways. One, with just plain images, when you show your product, you should be showing groups of people with your product as opposed to one person at a time. Or especially if you're going to have testimonials, then you need to have multiple testimonials to show that there's a lot of people using your product. But a picture with a large group of people makes it seem as if there's way more people like this. If you see one person holding someone's book on their website or their product or with a testimonial, you're just like, okay, I know there's more than where that came from. But if you see a group of people holding a book, you think, I know there's more than where that came from, aka there's multiple groups that like this product versus just multiple people. So number one, you want to show pictures of groups of people supporting or using your product. Number two, in terms of marketing, you want to be able to actually say how many people have purchased or used or support your product, right? So sometimes you may have the websites that have a ticker at the bottom showing that somebody just purchased recently. Although, sometimes if the person hasn't had a sale in a while, it'll just show, Mark purchased last week, right? So it's not that good. But if you say something like, when you go to like the App Store and it says 1 million downloads and it says 239 5-star ratings and stuff like that, because that number is so high, you're like, oh, okay, since so many people approve this product, it must be good. So I'm going to go with that one over this other one that has 3 likes or 3, or 3 reviews or 3 testimonials. Same thing also works in experiments with social media, where if you see the same post, one that has 4 likes and the other that has 4,000 likes, you're more likely to double tap it when it has 4,000 versus when it just has 4. It is what it is. That's how most of us are wired. So you want to show images of groups of people holding your product. You want to say how many people, or you want to say the largest number of people that support or have used your product. And then lastly, you want to show what your most popular product is, right? So let's say you don't have pictures of a lot of people or a group of people with your product. Let's say you only have, 3 clients so far, and all 3 purchased product A instead of product B. And obviously the number is only 3, so that's not impressive to put on your website. 3 people have, right? So what you would do is you would just show product A and product B side by side, and then for product A, you were right. Our most popular product, right, or our most purchased product, because most people who are not familiar with the two are more likely to go with the more popular product. This is why people go to restaurants and ask for the specials, or may ask the waitress or waiter, what's one of the things that the locals like the most, especially if they're like visiting in town or something like that. What else? If you're in a restaurant, a lot of times it'll show, what the most popular product is. On Amazon, it shows the most purchased products on Amazon, or most popular products on e-commerce stores. So social proof is live and in effect and in our face all the time, especially because there's 3 ways to use it, which is groups of people, a large number of people, or the largest number of people to use or support your product, and then lastly showing which one of your offers or products is the most popular of those. Because now, even if you don't have a lot of clients, if you show that one is more popular than the other, then at least the people that are going to buy are more likely to buy that more popular product, as opposed to not seeing which one is better and avoiding to purchase anyway, right? So, principles of persuasion, we went through reciprocity, commitment, and consistency, social proof. Fourth, we have scarcity. Scarcity. We've all heard the word before. Obviously, scarcity drives up prices and rarity in a lot of cases, and value and demand because supply is so low. But again, there's 2 ways to use scarcity, which you can use, and they are used differently. Number one is to show a lack of time, right? So if you want to go into a store and there's a sale going, and they say, all the honey, what cereal we want to go with? All the Captain Crunch today is on sale for 48 hours, right? That's 2 days. you might not even go that first day that you find out, just because you know you can go the next day. So scarcity works because it'll still drive you to go, because you know there's a sale and there's an end date, so you got to go within 48 hours. So it'll kick somebody into motion, but it could still give that hesitation up front, right? But scarcity of time does work, limited time. So that's why you'll see websites that have the ticker going for when a concert or something is going to start, or when ticket purchases close. But the type of scarcity that works the best is limited supply, right? So if you go to that, if you have that same supermarket that says Captain Crunch is on sale and there's only 50 boxes available, now you're much more likely to get right out the house and go, like, because you know, now I have competition, right? So competition really also drives scarcity, because you know there's just not enough resources available for everyone, and you don't want to be one of the people left out, which is why you'll go, because one, you don't have, you know how to beat the clock by just getting there within 48 hours. You don't know exactly how to beat out all the competition, because you don't even know how many people are in the store, how many boxes are remaining out of the 50 that were there. You know what I mean? So it drives you to go do something immediately. That's why ticket prices or anything with limited amount of seating or limited supplies always drives craze and prices much higher, especially stuff like Member Supreme clothing or different types of rare sneakers. Their values are much higher because there's a limited supply of them, so people can hoard them, number one, and resell them later. Or if it's something that people really, really rely on and really need, they'll go rack up because they don't know when's the next time they'll get more, or if there will be any left when they get there. So and the best way to use scarcity is to give people a lack of time and a lack of resources. So in the same scenario, you would say Captain Crunch is on sale for the next 48 hours, but there's also only 50 left. You know what I mean? So now I only got 48 hours to go there, and there's only 50 left. The reason that works even harder is because, let's think of best case scenario, either one. We think of limited resources, and we would say, I'm going there right away because I don't know if there's going to be enough for everybody, and I don't want to miss out. But the reason the time factor adds even more pressure and action on top of that is because when there's a limited amount of time, again, it'll get more people to take action within that 48 hours. Meaning now there's going to be more competition than if there wasn't a limited amount of time. So since there's a limited amount of time, there's even more pressure on you because there's more competition. There's going to be more people, or at least you would perceive it as more people would show up because of the limited amount of time, as opposed to if it was just 50 left. Because it might be some people that say, you know what, I don't even care, because it's only 50 left, I'm probably not going to get any. But if they say it's 48 hours, for the sale and it's 50 left, you got to think, maybe they said 48 hours because they expect the cereal, those 50 boxes, to last 2 days. But what if they don't last 2 days? All right, I got to go today, right? So it's like whatever sort of hesitation you would have had or whatever discouragement you would have had as far as limited resources or limited time, as far as scarcity, when you use them both together, they complement each other, so you're not able to take that hesitancy. You have to act right away, and you have to make a decision right away, which is I'm going now or I'm not going at all, right? So that's 4 out of 6. The fifth principle of persuasion is authority. What is authority? When we think of authority, what do we think of? We think of cops. We think of judges. We think of, Secret Service or something like that. We think of the government, big brother watching over us. Maybe you think of a teacher or a dean or a parent. But in this case, when it comes to marketing and influence and persuasion, when it comes to authority, we're talking about an industry leader or the leader of an organization or group of people. Why is authority important? Number one, fun fact, authority is the most action-oriented principle of persuasion, or action-driven principle of persuasion. Meaning, if you were going to just use one principle of persuasion and you had to choose from the 6, authority is the one that's most likely to drive action before the rest, because it's coming from an authoritative figure. For instance, if I had a new makeup come out, right, and the people who told you to use it were Rihanna and Jackie Aina, who are two huge beauty influencers, obviously, they're authorities in the industry. So millions of people will gather to go use that product or buy that product because these two authoritative figures told them to use it. In the same way, if it was my cousin Terrell who told everybody to go use this makeup, nobody's going to take him seriously because he's not an authoritative figure in the makeup world, right? And then also you can, if you don't have an authoritative figure available for that industry that you can connect to, you can use an authoritative figure to that market. So say I wanted to sell this market to, I don't know, if I want to sell this thing to older mothers who may have grandchildren or something like that, then maybe I have somebody like Martha Stewart or something, promote the product because I know there's going to be older women that are watching that versus younger women, right? Even though she may not be a beauty authority, she's considered an authoritative figure to the people who watch her, right? She's an authoritative influencer at that point. So there's two ways to use authority. Again, an authority or leader in your industry, or an authority or leader amongst the target audience that you are, marketing directly to. One great way to use authority for your business, especially, and I like to talk to online brands because everybody should have a website or funnel or app or something nowadays. A great way to use authority is to, one, have a testimonial from somebody who is an authoritative figure in your market or for your target audience. If you don't have access to either one of those, you can do something like what I've done before is show at the top of my website who my prior coaches were, right? Why is that important? If you've never seen me before, you just say, who's this Trevor Castleberry guy? He sounds smart. He got some charisma. He's good looking. I like his crown. I like his voice. I like his mannerisms. I like the way he conducts himself. I even like his product offers, but I just need somebody else to validate him, and I don't know. Let me go to his website and just do a little more digging. As soon as you get there, you see, boom, 4 authoritative figures, what I call my Mount Rushmore of coaches and business coaches that I've had, right? And when you see that, you see former student of this person, that person, that person, that person. It's like, whoa, this guy, okay. It's almost like seeing this person went to Harvard on a resume. You don't know what they majored in. You don't know if they did well in the classes, but hey, he went to Harvard. He must have something working for him, right? Same thing here for authoritative figures. If you just show your prior coaches, so maybe your coaches aren't necessarily influencers for your product, you don't have to promote them as that, but you do tell the truth by saying these are my prior coaches, or these are our partners on our website, or as seen on these platforms, and those would be authoritative platforms, right? So you want to use a connection to an industry leader or a connection to your audience authority or leader, and that can be another way for you to bridge that gap if you don't have them available to speak on your product directly. And again, if you're going to do the whole connection to your industry leader, or even if you're going to do the testimonial where they're talking directly about your product, you want that to basically be the first thing people see after the headline on your website. They should see the headline so they know why the heck they're there, and then boom, it should be the authoritative figure. Why? One, because they're going to be essentially promoting your product more effectively, or the most effectively you can, with the principles of persuasion, because authority is the one that drives traffic fastest. But also because if you see that when people see your authoritative figures first, everything else on your website or everything else in your article, everything else in your paper, whatever it is, they're more likely to give you the benefit of the doubt, not based on you being impressive, but based on your authoritative figure being impressive. So, on my website, if you go down it, there may be things about negotiation or sales or marketing that you don't know are necessarily true. You don't know necessarily work, based on what I say. But you may see my authoritative figures at the top and say, well, he does have a high ticket coach here, so he should know a thing or two about putting together a high ticket product. He does have a business instruction expert here, so he definitely should be able to teach business, in a constructive way. He has a lead generation expert, so the guy knows something about marketing and converting traffic at a website. And he also has an e-commerce and crypto coach, so he must know a thing or two about investing and management money on some sort of scale, right? So at that very basic core, you're giving me already the benefit of the doubt, as opposed to saying, I didn't see it, so I don't know. He must not have it if it's not on his website, right? So that's why authority is so impressive and important, that if you don't have anybody to promote your product, the first people you should be going to are authoritative figures in your industry, or to your target audience, or at least identifying the connection that you have to these different authoritative figures, right? And then lastly, the last one we have liking. What is liking? Pretty much liking is just attributes that make you like the person more, because you're more likely to listen or accept what somebody says if you like them. What makes us like people more? Similarities, basic similarities, them looking like us, them sounding like us, them smelling like us, them being from where we're from, right? So if I see somebody that looks like me, they're 6'5" with a beard and locks, and they dress with the same kind of clothes, I'm already likely to give him the benefit of the doubt more than somebody else that I see, right? If I hear somebody on the phone and they sound just like me, use the same vernacular, and I'm like, I think this person might be from the Bronx. Boom, I already have a better connection to the person, and I'm more willing to work with this person. I'm more willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. I like this person more because I heard that common tone, right? Even if I might not be from New York, right? I went to school in Ohio. If I'm talking to somebody and they tell me they're from Akron, Ohio, which is, I went to the University of Akron, I'm more likely to like this person. If they said they graduated from there and got an electrical engineering tech degree like myself, I'm more likely to like that person. If they said that they just, lived in Akron for a while, they didn't take classes at the campus, but they used to have to travel through the campus every day just to go to work. I remember having to travel through campus to get to class. We're similar. I like you more, right? So that's all liking is. And a great way to use liking is, one, your salesmen should look like the people that they're selling to, or be similar to the people that they're selling to, right? Your testimonials should be similar to the people they're selling to. So what do I mean here? If you're going to sell a Corvette, you should look like you can afford a Corvette. You should look like you have a Corvette. And if you used to have a Corvette, you should have a picture in your office of you with your Corvette, right? If you want to sell me Acura, it should look like you can at least afford an Acura. It would be great to know that you have or used to have an Acura, right? Same thing works. If you want to sell me high ticket coaching, I better know that you had high ticket coaching before. And if you were now if you can show that you were in the position that I was in, and high ticket coaching is what got you to the next step, now I know you were in my position. We're now similar. I like you more. I'm willing to trust what you say. This is not just what I do. This is what happens with most people. It also works with people of the same gender, people literally from the same places, people who speak the same languages, people who struggle in the same classes. So think about, back in high school, you had all the kids who were doing bad in the class sat together. All the kids who did good in the class sat together. All the kids who did average in the class sat together, for the most part, right? So the best ways to use liking are with your testimonials, or with your salespeople. Your testimonials for sure, because if I go to your website and I see a bunch of 70-year-old women as your testimonials and clientele, and those are the only testimonials I know or that I can see, I'm going to think to myself, wow, I might be the only 30-year-old man from New York City that this person has ever worked with. I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is something that they're going to be comfortable with meeting with me, because it seems like they're only used to meeting with 70-year-old women from the Golden Girls, right? So versus if I see a bunch of people that went to high school and college with me as your clients, and they show good experience and speak on good experience, I'm much more likely to trust what you're offering me. So those are the 6 principles of persuasion: reciprocity, commitment and consistency, social proof, scarcity, authority, and liking, from Robert Cialdini, author of Influence and Persuasion. There are a multitude of ways to use all 6 of them. But if you have a business online, or if you work for a company who sells a product online, please make sure you are using at least one of these proven principles of persuasion when you market at any time, when you sell at any time. Your sales script should have this. Your offers should incorporate this. Your landing page should incorporate this. Your email marketing copy should incorporate this. My landing page incorporates all 6. Originally, it incorporated 3, and I deliberately went in to find places to strategically use all 6. So if you were to go to www.castleberry.com and then were to opt in to learn more information about my negotiation challenge called the Game or Leverage Challenge, which I think would be great for you if you're still here watching this video, you'll be able to go through the page and see, wow, this page really is persuasive. And you might even be able to see, notice all 6 of the principles that I was able to lay into the foundation of the website without it being right in your face and, highlighting them all in colors to make sure that you see them, right? Not only does this work for websites, but it also works great. I have Further Hustler Volume 3 coming out next year, and I have found a way to incorporate all 7 onto the book cover. And once that is done, which I meet with my book cover designer on Tuesday to finalize, I'll end up going back and editing the book cover for Further Hustler Volumes 1 and 2 to make sure they incorporate the same, right? Because I want to make sure, one, that when somebody has the book, it makes them go back to my website. It makes them go back and get into the Castleberry Corporate Academy, which is my brilliant membership to teach you guys how to negotiate yourselves into having more time, peace, and respect. But not only will it make people going back into the Castleberry Corporate Academy, but when other people see their physical book, because there's always a friend who wants to look at the book. I was reading the book on the train the other day, and the gentleman asked to see it and take a picture. It'll be a bunch of persuasive qualities on that book cover that gets that person to now go and get their own copy. So 3 things to tell you guys before I get out of here. Number 1, if you have been listening to me and you're saying, you know what, this guy, Trevor, is one of the greatest negotiation instructors I've ever listened to, especially if you've never heard one before, and you'd love to hear more from me and you'd like to hear more diverse information and takes on different things going on in the world of business, I am on a bunch of different platforms. Right now, I'm literally live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and I'm on Clubhouse simultaneously. And I want to make sure that you guys are able to get access to all the different exclusive content I put out. I put out some content on Facebook that doesn't go on Instagram, some on Instagram that doesn't go on LinkedIn, some on LinkedIn that doesn't go on YouTube. Every platform has something particular about it that I make sure is there because that's what works best for the people there. And I want to make sure I'm giving you a reason to follow me on all these different platforms, right? So if you're looking to get more diverse information from me and look and see all the different exclusive information and posts I'm putting out and content I'm putting out online, you can follow me on all of my different pages. Instead of me giving you the names of them and you having to write them down or rewind this video, you can go to castleberry.com, scroll real fast to the footer, and a link to all 5 platforms is there, right? So that's number 1. Number 2, yes, it's Negotiation November. I'm live every night on all of these platforms, but I'm always going to give you something special on Sunday nights. So if you were listening to tonight's and you really thought to yourself, whoa, this guy was dope, but he mentioned a negotiation challenge called the Game or Leverage Challenge that I should like because I'm still watching this video, meaning I'd be a perfect candidate for it, you should go to www.castleberry.com, opt in, and check out the challenge. I'm telling you, it's more information on that one page. You can literally go to that one page and learn how to create a more persuasive and converting landing page. And if you're willing to go to that page and you realize, wow, this page is really good, I'm going to use some of this stuff, that's even more of an indicator that you should get into the challenge and get 5 days worth of excellent content and expertise that I'm going to be giving you from my time as a business owner, construction management professional, and young man coming up in New York City, having to negotiate his way in and out of everything, right? And lastly, I just want to thank you guys for still watching my content. If you could, please like, please follow, subscribe, and please share this video around so everybody can get a taste of the juice that I'm giving out. And I appreciate you again. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night here on whatever platform you're watching this at 8 p.m. sharp for Negotiation November. Peace.